If the shots being ranked still feels odd to you, that's something you're going to need to sort out and get comfortable with, because with 13 seniors, including a bunch who took advantage of the extra year of eligibility because of COVID, they are experienced, they are talented, in a very deep Sun Belt that has a couple of ranked teams, and they're one of them. Number 22, Coastal. Got the Citadel in town. Scoreless, middle of the first. Grayson McCall pitches to Shamari Jones. He'll take it in. And Coastal, down by the beach, up 7-0. Reese White punches it in there. Coastal up 14-0. Very next drive. Keep it, pitch it. There goes White. Second touchdown of the game for him, his third career multi-touchdown game. Shots defense. Oh, they threw it to our guy 46, Steve.
Did.
That's Nathan Storch. He gets blown up there by Enoch Macanzo. Citadel would punt, and then a sack here. Citadel -2 passing yards in the first half. Third quarter, Coastal continues to cruise. And it's Jones again. Shifty at the line of scrimmage. Picks up a block and show him your taillights. He takes it to the paint, his second touchdown. Shots up 38-0. They would go on to win 52-14. Another team with a number next to its name, Utah. They're number 24, hosting Weber State. 5-0 against them all time. This led off our show. We'll show it to you again. Rashid Shaheed, one of the best return men in the college game, and untouched. Weber State on the road takes the lead. Charlie Brewer, transfer from Baylor. Up top to Dalton Kincaid, and Utes are back in front. Weber State down 6. Bronson Barron. Randall Grimes, it gets batted up in the air. Devin Lloyd makes a spectacular interception. Tavion Thomas running hard. Utah would miss the extra point. The lead extended to 19-7. Fourth quarter, Weaver played pretty well, drove down there, had a couple opportunities that they let get away from him. Utah just too much. Thomas is second. He goes for 107, a couple of touchdowns. Utah by 23. As we dive into week 1 of the college football season, things to keep in mind. Mel Kiper Jr. has updated the 22 big board. Oregon defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau atop the list. He's one of 2 defensive ends in the top 10. Oklahoma's Spencer Rattler, North Carolina's Sam Howell among the 3 quarterbacks inside Mel's top 25, joined by the big arm and talent of Liberty's Malik Willis at number 15. Never too early to talk to Mel Kiper Jr. And Mel, I just mentioned you got a couple of defensive ends in the top 10, 4 in the top 15.
Yeah.
What makes this group collectively so special in your estimation?
Scott, you can have talent, but are you fierce? Are you a tremendous competitor? And all these guys are. And they're not one-dimensional, which is really impressive. I like the fact that we'll start out with Kayvon Thibodeau, number 1 player out of high school. He's maintained that grade at Oregon. Obviously, the subtleties of playing that defensive end spot, varying your charge. He's working on that. I think you'll see improvement in that area this year. He could be Myles Garrett. He certainly could be Mario Williams, Jadeveon Clowney, and be the number 1 pick. And then you go to DeMarvin Leal from Texas A&M. Talk about scheme versatility, Scott. He's 6'4", 290. Now, he's been disruptive, but you want him to finish more. He only had a couple sacks each of the last 2 seasons. If he does that, he will move up. And then the guys from the Big Ten that didn't go their way last year. You think about George Karlaftis from Purdue. He had an injury, then COVID, but in 2019 he was great. 17 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. Can he regain that form? Hopefully he does. And then Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. Last year played in 3 games, then the ankle injury. Now he's back, 6'5", 267-pounder who's got length. He bends the edge, great motor. This guy moves like a 225-pound linebacker. So all 4 of these guys could be special if they put it all together this year. And we're looking for Karlaftis and Hutchinson to bounce back, Thibodeau to take his game to another level, and Leal to just get a few more sacks at Texas A&M.
In Rattler, Mel, we're talking about a guy that had all the accolades coming out, goes to OU, which is a quarterback factory. And I think the talent's understood, but if there's questions or a question singular about him, what would it be at this point?
Let it rip. When you see it, let it rip. Don't hold it. And I think you saw early in the year last year, mistake prone, okay? All those interceptions, mistakes happened early. He fixed it. And he got his confidence, and then he was just letting it rip, and he was trusting his eyes and doing all the things you need to do and being accurate to all levels. He only threw 2 interceptions, Scott, over the last 7 games last year after those struggles early. So if he can bring that momentum into this season with that supporting cast, now Creed Humphrey, the center's not going to be there. So the offensive line's got to fix things quick, but he's got weapons at tight end, receiver, 2 great running backs. Everything sets up for Oklahoma to win a national title. If Spencer Rattler leads them to that, and he has the year expected, he could be in line to be the #1 pick overall.
It's interesting, Mel. I look back at the last couple of drafts. Joe Burrow was not a first-round pick prior to that title season at LSU. And Zach Wilson was not a first-round pick before last year at BYU either. But they both, with a bullet, play their way into the first round. If there's a quarterback not on your big board first round right now in that top 25, who might play his way into that type of consideration?
Scott, I thought about that earlier today, and I said, okay, Tyler Shuck was at Oregon, showed some promise, 6'5", he's at Texas Tech now. But then I said, what about Emory Jones at Florida? Emory Jones played last year some, when Kyle Trask was the main guy. He's playing for Dan Mullen. He's been developed. He was a guy everybody looked at coming out of high school to be great. Dan Mullen's kind of the quarterback whisperer. He develops quarterbacks. That's the bottom line. Remember Dak Prescott, what he did with him at Mississippi State? You think about a 6'2", 215-pounder with a strong arm and tremendous running skills that drives the defenses nuts. This is this kid, Emory Jones' time to shine at the Swamp. If he does, with his skill set as a dual-threat quarterback, Scott, Emory Jones, Florida, is a name to keep an eye on.
And as hard as you work at it and as much as you know, I think it has to be some of the fun, even for you, Mel, to find out who's that guy, right? Who's that guy who's going to play his way into a big-time role and a chance to be a star on Sunday. But we get to watch some Saturdays between now and the spring and enjoy it all, Mel. I always enjoy visiting with you. Be good, all right?
You're the best, Scott. Take care, pal.
Coming up, ahead of their biggest series of the season, the Giants needed to avoid the sweep with the Brewers, try to catch up with the Dodgers. Those highlights are on the way. Look, that's exciting and all, but not as exciting as this. Steve, you know what I got in my hand?
Winners.
That's right. Like a blanket of fresh snow. Anything could happen, huh? You want
Party time.
You want to build a snowman? I got winners. Is that the song? Do you want to build a snowman? I got winners.